Today's guest is someone who has lived a life that only a fraction of a percent of people on this planet will ever experience. Chris Odom played in the National Football League, something that only about 0.08% of high school football players will ever achieve. From there, his journey took him through multiple professional leagues, including the NFL, the CFL, and most recently the UFL, where he's been one of the most dominant defensive players in the league, even most recently leading the league in tackles. But what makes Chris's story so compelling isn't just what he's done on the football field, it's what he's had to overcome off the field. In this episode, we dive into the why behind Chris Odom. Let's get into it. So Chris Odom, you're 31 years old and have already achieved what 99.92% of people will never be able to do in their life. I recently saw a stat online that 0.08% of high school players will be drafted into the NFL. Like, that's such an insanely small number. But whenever you and I have talked in conversations, I don't think the NFL has really ever come up once. And to some, that accomplishment of playing in the NFL, that would just become their whole entire identity. But it doesn't seem that way for you. Like, tell me about that. Why?
Well, I believe that it's just it is my job, and but it's not just solely me as a person. So I try not to let that be my only identity. Like to I, for example, that I have hobbies, like very interested into cars, into paintball, my tight circle of friends, or that I'm a dad, and just try not to let football just fully consume my identity, and just to know me as a person.
Yeah, I love that because I think so many people who are, fans of the game or fans of football or NFL or whatever sport or league it is, they see players on TV or on the field and they turn them into like superheroes in their minds, right? Like, they obviously have posters of them on their walls. They're buying jerseys with their names on them. But I think a lot of times, and where my mind goes is I see players, I'm like, man, there's actually a person there. Like, it's not just a football player. Like, that person has families. They have struggles outside of the field, just like I have. What's something that fans or people don't see on TV, but you think is important to share about being like an NFL player or a star player?
I would say family and fatherhood. Just whenever all the cards are stacked up against you, and you have no one else to turn to, you can always just turn to your family. So I put a big emphasis on being very family oriented. Always spending time with my family, my daughter, and my parents, and they want to see their grandbaby and so forth, and just full on engagement into just helping and just spending family time with my family, whether if it's going to Mississippi to watch my brother coach at Mississippi State, or just like hanging on the couch with my dad, just talking about football and everything else in between, or taking my daughter Cassidy to Disney World, which she absolutely loves. I've lost track how many times we've been to Disney World and Disneyland. So I just try to be big and family oriented, and then also like my daughter has a condition. She has osteogenesis imperfecta, OI, brittle bone disease, and I'm a big advocate and supporter of families and parents reaching out to the foundation, just to further educate and consume knowledge and resources of what all it can consist of, because I don't want others to feel that that they don't have options, so they can make the best choices for their kids by reaching out and seeing what their options are. So I'm a big advocate for that, and I try to help new parents that might be coming to might be bringing life into this world, who may have to parent a child with that said condition, so that they have a better understanding of what they're getting into. Because I didn't have that whenever Cassidy, when Cassidy was born. It was just she was born during COVID. It was it was me and my girlfriend Sandy at the time. So we only had each other, and we only had the internet just to learn about this condition. Sometimes the doctors didn't even know. So we only had ourselves, and then we found different Facebook groups, parent groups, found the foundation, and they just like opened the gate to what our options were, so we can make the best choice for Cass.
Yeah, like talk about that's just such an incredible community, right? Like such one of the loneliest times in human history to be thrown what you were thrown, to face it alone with your then girlfriend, and to then be able to find these communities to help you through it. Like that just speaks volumes to what's out there for people. And fast forward what 8, 10 years I think since that happened, or however long ago it was. In the pre-show, you were mentioning you just came back from a trip to DC because you were speaking at an engagement to raise awareness for OI, and that you said like doctors came up to you after and they were thanking you for that. So like tell me about that experience of what it's like to have people that are saving lives coming up to you and thanking you.
I just wanted in my speech the doctors to feel the appreciation for the skills that they have, and just what all it means, not just for the kid but for the parents as well. It's hard to expect a doctor to know everything about every type of condition, disease, sickness there is. I mean, that's just not possible to know it off the top of their head. But when we do find those doctors and those specialists, I just want them to understand just how thankful we are as parents for the work that they do. I mean, the work that they do is, I did not think was possible, especially when you're able to sit down and fully process and visually see uh, the results from before and after, like surgeries and so forth. That I wanted everyone in the room, like parents. I'm no exception. Like, I'm going through the exact same thing that y'all are going through. And I want the doctors to also feel the appreciation for the work that they have done, because we understand that it's already not easy. It's already not easy. So it was just more just to just spread appreciation around the room, and just be comfortable to talk about the uncomfortable conversations, so everyone knows that I'm no even though that I play football, that I'm no exception into being a parent with an OI kid. So after that speech, I had I had parents the same age as my parents, which is 67 years old, even coming over and saying thanking me, doctors as well. And I just said that was just a speech of appreciation, but I said, really, I thank you for the work that you do, because I know that it's not easy, and it's almost like magic, the work that y'all do. No one could even think about the work that y'all do and y'all's abilities. So that I thank you for.
Yeah. Oh gosh, what a beautiful time. I remember when I saw that on Instagram, I was like, man, I can't wait to get you on the podcast so I could talk about it and like hear what that experience was like. Because I think so many people look at football players and other athletes and they just put them on a whole different category. And at the end of the day, like, yes, you're playing the sport or a sport, but you're still a human. You still are going through things that everyone else is going through. And so to be able to humanize that and share that and have some of those uncomfortable conversations that I think a lot of people think about, that's like gold and speaks volumes to what you're doing as a person.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. And I get it. Like, football is, if someone is a football player, it's the most monetized. Like, that's just comes with the job. And it's up to you individually how you want yourself betrayed when you step off the field. So I've always been conscious and wary of that. So I didn't want, like I said, I didn't want football to just be my only identity. Like I wanted to do more than just play. I wanted to use uh, my platform for the greater good and pay it forward to others and just let everyone know see me for you know for who I am, like my hobbies, family, and just spending quality time. And that's just how I wanted others to also see me, more than just a player, because I'm also aware that it's very easy for you to only see the name, and they don't see the other titles associated with that person.
Yeah, and that ties really well into this next question where I want to go is, when doing research, you've had a few stints with different NFL teams, and uh, obviously, I think it's well known at this point that you tore your ACL with the Browns, and I think that's a moment that could and has crushed people's lives. That's a moment that your life is now going in a completely different direction. But you found a way to bounce back that following year and played for a different league. I think you played for the Roughnecks. Talk to me about that year and how you were able to go through those dark times. Because the moment an ACL happens, it's like people just write off the person. So how are you able to get through that?
Well, it took me to a dark place for quite some times. It wasn't all one wave of being just mentally, just deep into my own mind of like, what's next? What am I gonna do? What's gonna happen? So it just came in waves. Some days were better than others. Some were worse than others. But then once I got cleared to play, it was just a matter of time for me to step back on the field and get the muscle memory back and just get back into the rhythm and into the groove of things. So my first year, I was very protective of my knee. Like I didn't want to go back and and want to have to go through that again. I don't wish a uh, ACL tear for anybody because it was so much rehab that it was 13. It took me 13 months to be fully cleared after I tore my ACL,
Wow.
rehabbing from 3 to 5 times a week through those 13 months. So it just took a long time. Some people bounce back faster than others, but I knew that it was my first major injury, so I wasn't used to what it all consisted of, but I knew that like this isn't over. Like I'm not done. Like this isn't going to be the end of me. Like I still have more left that I want to do. And then once the season started picking up, I started getting more comfortable, and then I was able to push it a little more on top of staying on top of my maintenance on my knee at the time. And then once it really didn't bother me, then I just focused on playing. That's when I like really felt good. And then after that, like everything just kind of just fell back into place. It's very hard to stay relevant in sports after a major injury setback. It's just like it's just very easy for teams and organizations to move on. So there's a determination and a mentality of like I got to get back on the field if I'm not done, that before I get forgotten about and left in the dust. So I knew that I just had to be impactful just initially off the rip. I'm not just written off of just like cleared to play, but he's not a productive player anymore. So after that, I just felt good and just got back to playing and just right where I left off.
That's I guess, the one of the negative things about sports, right? Is we all look at it as sports, but at the end of the day, it's a business and they have a position they've got to fill. As kind of crappy as it sounds when a player gets injured or something like that happens, that's catastrophic. Next week, they still have to fill that spot.
Yeah, and we're all aware of that. Like it's what we signed up for. It go and like they make it very clear like about what can happen if you were to go down. Like they've been telling us we've been groomed this way playing sports ever since we were young. Oh, someone goes down, next man up. It just it's just part of life, and it's not even just sports. Like it's just in general, just throughout life, and in the business world and the real world, no matter what it is. Like if you go down, no, next man up, and the greats are no exception. There may not be sometimes there may not be a player like the person that went down, but the job has to get done, and the position needs to get filled.
Yeah,
So it just I think that just helps with the determination to bounce back, so
yeah,
we don't get forgotten about.
for sure. And I think earlier you mentioned obviously family's huge for you, and I've got some questions about your family later on. But going through this process, your dad also played in the NFL too. Um, was he any type of help going through this process, or like was he in your mind at all as a person to look to?
Yeah, he was the biggest help. Not even just football, just life in general. He 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 supported me on whatever I wanted to do. He never made me wanted to play football. Like I'm the youngest brother of two. My oldest brother Clifton, who's at Mississippi State now. He played football all the way up until Baylor, and that was NFL lockout year, and that limited his opportunity to go pro. Then he went directly into coaching after that. But me, just being the younger brother with a dad that played 13 years and a brother that went to the Big 12 to play football, I'm just like I just want to be better. I want to be better than both. Granted, I know it's a very hard task. Even this being like year 10 playing football, it just like 13 years is a long time doing this. Like after like now that I know what I know and what all it takes just to play ball, even at this point. It's not an easy goal to reach, but it's not impossible either. I just a little bro mentality is like, I'm like, pops, I'm gonna make sure I'm better than you, but I know I'm gonna be better than you. So it was just like that little bro determination to just want to just be better than everybody.
Yeah, it's that motivation on both sides.
Yeah, basically, it just funneled into just like just keep going, just achieve more, do more, do more, do more, and I think just like that just helped me with just so much growth, not even as a player, but just as a person of just always do more and be better than the person next to you, and just separate yourself from others, just be different.
Post injury, you transitioned to be a dominant player. In the UFL for the Renegades. Like every time I was opening Instagram past years, I'm like, oh, there's another Chris Odom highlight reel. Um, Talk to me about that. Like, did that playing for the Renegades in the UFL, did that quote unquote scratch the same itch as being on the NFL stage?
It, Same, no, different, yes. But it still had fulfillment. Like being able to play for my local team down the street from where I live. I never thought I was going to ever have that opportunity. Then, because now I get to you know, do what I do and do what I love, and then have all my friends, family who still live in Arlington just, come to the games. I never thought that I would get to that point, because football, you don't always get to choose where you go. You just choose with who wants you the most. So once I was able to get that opportunity, I just like that's when it really became fun. I just felt comfortable. Like I felt comfortable playing at home, not have to worry about traveling or anything, not have to worry about my family coming to the games, my daughter come to the games, or friends that never got to see me play with their own eyes. They've always just watched it on TV. So it had a lot of fulfillment in just having that opportunity to just to play football locally. And now it was just a really good time, especially with my teammates that I've known throughout the years. I've had a lot of teammates that we've been in different leagues at the same time. We just didn't know each other. We knew of each other, but we weren't teammates. Like we weren't close. But then some of those guys we became teammates, and then some of those are uncles to my daughter now. So it's just Football is just a tight knit brotherhood, and it's just funny how a player that you didn't know, that y'all can just hit it off, real quick, and then you realize you might have been in the league at the same time, different teams, or y'all might have been coached by the same coach when he was with this team or that team, and so forth. It's just a small world. Like, the world is not as big as we think that it is.
Yeah, you're so spot on. Like the way that everyone's paths kind of cross at some point, and if you're able to like map back and think, oh wow, we had a first conversation there years ago, and to think now that we're teammates, or that you're the uncle or godfather to my child, like there's just it's crazy how it all kind of plays out. Looking back to where you are now, would you change anything about your path if it was going to lead to like where you are exactly today?
No, no. Looking back at it, like, I I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I would say maybe a few little things, but nothing really major. Because I believe I tried to make the best of my opportunities as they were presented, and then at that point was just capitalizing on them. So, looking back at it, would I really change anything? No, I wouldn't think so. I think that it was just up to me in those moments to, what do I do when those opportunities present themselves? So, looking back at it, no disappointments throughout my career.
What about looking forward? What's the future hold for you for football? Like, what else do you want to accomplish in the sport?
Well, just being the best that I can, being the best player that there is, continuously separating myself from others to the highest degree. Not easy, but it's not impossible either. I mean, I've done it before. The hard it's just like winning. Winning is, once you win once is one thing. Winning a second time is a whole nother. So the consistency is the hard part after you've already had the success. So, but there's no other there's no other battle like that. Like, continuous success, not just a one hit wonder of like achieving the success. Because now all you do is you just want it again and again and again, and just constantly keep chasing success.
Yeah, that's the formula you hear from a lot of very successful people. I think it's been documented with the Patriots, and we'll transition here to talk about paintball. And one of the most dominant paintball players, Marcelo Margot, mentioned that on a podcast a few months ago. He's like, it's winning is not the hardest; it's winning consistently is the hardest thing to do, because you've got to replicate that formula over and over again. You mentioned earlier that paintball was a really big hobby for you, and it seems like you've really been sinking your teeth into that over the past few years. Like, tell me how that kind of came about. How did you find paintball?
Well, I think a lot of people start paintball out with a birthday party. So it all started with a birthday party back in 2007. Uh, 2007, I was 13, and we decided to go to a local paintball field, Fun on the Run, out in Fort Worth, for my buddy's birthday. And then I went to another local field even closer to where I lived, Mansfield Paintball. Uh, no longer a field now, but it was just fun. It was a different type of excitement than like other sports that I was doing, because at the time I played every single sport: basketball, football, baseball. And then I stopped playing paintball in 2013 because I got a scholarship to go play football at Arkansas State, and then I like that just took my focus right there. And then got playing football all the way up until COVID, and then I got released from Washington during COVID, and and that's when everybody was isolating, not be close to each other. Everyone's like masking and everything. Like, I got to get out and do something. Like, I'm just tired of just sitting in the house all day. So then paintball popped back up on my social media after one of my coworkers at the marketing firm that I was also working for in 2020 decided to go play paintball for his birthday. Then once I started reaching out, seeing what are the current local fields at the time, took me down to Paintball Fit at the end of 2020 and into 2021, so forth. Then 21, I go to Canada, play in the CFL, and then once the community knew that I was a football player playing paintball, they just kind of just followed me and just kept reaching out. So basically, the industry made sure that I didn't leave. It was hard to leave. Not that I like tried to leave or I wanted to. They just kind of like, hey, you can come back. You should come play like here and there whenever you can. So the industry has just been welcoming me to just to keep playing, and I think that's just a direct feed into just me just constantly just promoting that that I do play it a lot. It's been a great competitive outlet from what I always do, which is football. So outside of the football field, it's just been fun and just a good time. And then bouncing around to a couple different teams and me playing on my current team, Greed, has just been nothing but a good time. I've even added on some of my high school football teammates to my team, some of which went to go play D1 football as well. Now, and see now they got the bug. Now they're playing tournaments and events and so forth. And now we got this whole big team that goes out every Sunday at Giant Party Sports here in Dallas, and that's just what we do on the weekends. I think paintball is just a good escape from everyday reality that we can just we come from all walks of life. Doesn't matter what you do. You could do if you're a business owner, doctor, football player, or mechanic constructor. It doesn't matter that we're all here to do this and just have a good time and enjoy each other's company and be competitive at the same time. And I think that's just what the great thing about paintball is that you have all these different walks of life doing the exact same thing. So that alone has just been pretty dope.
Yeah, I mean, right there is exactly one of the reasons why I fell in love with paintball too, is you have to rely on, depending what format you play, but four other teammates. And those four teammates could be a doctor, they could be a professional football player, or they could be a 13-year-old kid, but you all have to rely on each other. And there's not really anything else in the world where you put five complete strangers on a team and you all have to rely on each other, no matter your weight, your size, your color, what your career is or isn't. It's just such a beautiful sport to be around and be a part of.
For sure. No, it's definitely been great. And to the point to where I've invited some of my football teammates to come out and just play. And I took my in 2022 in the USFL when it was the Houston Gamblers, I took all of them out to play paintball right before the season was over. It was out in Birmingham, Alabama, at Central Alabama Paintball Park, and it was out for we played from like noon to like 3 o'clock in the summertime in peak Alabama heat and humidity. I mean, it was hot, but we had fun. And after we all did that for a few hours, like going into our next game, the the chemistry was just different. It was just different. Like it's just kind of just hard to explain. The whole team dynamic just shifted. Like, and we just started even having more fun. We were already having fun in that league, but we even had more fun after that. So, and that has led to other pro football guys reaching out, and they said they just want to come out and try it. They just want to just have a group of people to go out with. Or they asked me what's it like. I was like, I was like, bro, just show up. You don't need anything. You don't need gear. You don't need to worry about anything. Just show up, and everything else will take care of itself. And a few have. Some have returned. Some have not. That's just part of what it is. It's just like you either get hooked and you love it, or you just find out that it's just not really for you. But at least you came out and tried. So that I do like that they even just showed up and just came out and just tried it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's half the battle is getting people to show up right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it is pretty awesome.
Talk to me about there's a professional team in Dallas near you called Paintball Fit, and you've obviously been around professional teams your whole entire life, dating back to when you were a kid, when your dad was in the league. What is it like seeing, those professional athletes on the paintball field versus what you have seen on the football field? Is there any like commonalities between the two?
I would say for them in particular, it's just like just the amount of practice, the amount of repetition. I know that all these pro teams like practice as well, but I also know that their roster that other pro teams rosters has guys from all over the country to where they're not able to play as much or as often because that would require them like flying out every single weekend to one place to practice for an extended period of time, more than just a typical Saturday or Sunday practice, but like even like Thursday and Friday included in that. So for them, they've been able to keep their whole entire roster local. Plus, it's their own field. They built it from the ground up to what it is. So the what I would say is just the amount of practice that they've been able to do, and they have mechanical X ball, they have glow ball, they just started doing hard point as well. They got their own league, so just the amount of different types of paintball they were able to play, but they're still playing paintball nevertheless. So because it's all just going to just feed into their experience and their productivity, and it's shown that like they've already done stuff that they haven't before. They've completely swept the semi pro division. um they've gotten relegated, they came back from relegation, and now they are a top team. So I'd say the similarities is just like the amount just of repetition that of what it takes to be a professional. And not to say that the other teams don't, but I know with my own eyes just how much that they actually do practice. And they've already openly said, well, we don't have the experience that some of these 30, 40-year-old pro players have, because there's most of them, I believe, if not all of them, are in their 20s. So they got to make it up in different ways, and that's just by playing all the time. And it's worked out for them, so far. So there is something within that they have going on that's just working for them. And respect to them and their success. I mean, it's all been, and they definitely they've earned that right to be where they are today.
Yeah, for sure. I think whenever I think of Paintball Fit, I often think of, the Patriots from, 15, 20 years ago when they had just scrappy, tiny receivers that people thought there's no way that you're going to put that person on a field. And they found a way and they were consistent, and, they kind of built a new model that a lot of the league is now starting to build around. And so they're kind of reshaping what the pro league looks like.
Yeah, yeah, because really we haven't really seen anyone to that extent do what they do, at least in recent times. I mean, we could take it all the way back to like early 2000s dynasty days, if we want, where like they're all living in California, and they were success ever since they were teenagers. So we haven't seen that or the way that they've done it in a long time, or to some never seen it before. So with that being said, like that just makes it even more special. They're not just a team that bought a pro spot. No, they've been through the fire, jumping jumping semi-pro, straight into pro, relegation, semi-pro, 2 years, falling short the first time in semi-pro, to sweeping the league the second, to being pro, winning World Cup in their first pro year. Like that's a story within itself. Like most will not have that type of story ever at all.
Yeah, that just builds, so much character for the players on that team. Um, are there things that playing in, the NFL and UFL and CFL, are there things that you have learned there that you use on the paintball field?
Yeah, I would say, well, communication. That's a big thing. But that's pretty universal. Like you gotta have the good comms, whatever sport that you play in. Biggest thing is just how it's just situational awareness. Situational awareness, like on the football field, I have to be able to see things coming or could possibly happen before they even happen in a split second. And paintball is no exception to that. Like you got your mannerisms and tendencies of teams, if they like to push aside heavier than the other, or how they're setting up on the box, so on and so forth. Like, so there are similarities in that aspect that can be applied in football, even though it's two different sports. Like mentally, stuff is still the same, regardless of both sports. But I would say I would say mostly would be just the communication and situational awareness of what you can try to pick up on. If it's the plays that you expect them to run, now you got to stop them, and then tendencies, mannerisms, communication. I'd probably say would be the biggest one that I see the most.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's the cool thing about, paintball is there's so many skills that you can take from outside, no matter what it is you are doing, and use it on the field. And then I think we could also probably ask the reverse question, right? Like, what has paintball taught you that you can use on the football field?
I get it. Not everyone sees someone that plays football ever. So I would say I'm a louder communicator than I was before, and I would say my situational awareness has only picked up because I've not only been seeing things a lot faster, I'm able to call them out to my teammates a lot faster. So I've been able just to process stuff just a lot faster because like football is my job, paintball is for fun, what I do on the weekends. So I'm just constantly just like groomed into just being in the fire and the chaos of both. So I've just been comfortable just living in that type of environment to where that I've only just fed off just picking up the data and the knowledge just to not only help myself but help my team as well. So that was probably say like the biggest takeaway from paintball into football.
Yeah, and that's probably where when you're in that type of environment so much, that becomes your normal, right? Where like your heart rate starts to come down in those moments where some people's heart rate would just skyrocket and then they're not breathing, and like that's just when it snowballs.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get tunnel vision in any sport if you don't know how to control your mind. Like you just have to mentally just relax, or if you can't, know how to process things very quickly. So you definitely got to have that psychological control when and not overthink you, because out there on the football field you can't think, you just have to know. You have to know, because when you're thinking, that's when you can get scored on, or worst case you can get hurt. That's the biggest one, is like you can get hurt if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I've had a lot of now professional athletes from all different sports on this podcast. Paintball, now football. I had the Austin Marathon winner on a few weeks ago, who's won 9 marathons, which is unreal. And every one of the people that I've had on in the top of their game, they don't talk about like you need more reps, you need to like, be the best. They always talk about your mind. And like if you're able to control that, that's what unlocks it for these people that are going to elite status.
Well, yeah, if you can harness your mentality, the sky's the limit on your abilities and how much you can achieve. And that goes with anything. That doesn't necessarily have to be about sports. That could just be you as a person. Just you'd be surprised, what you can do for yourself, with a good strong mentality.
By the time this podcast comes out, paintball will, I think, for the first time, from what I can recall, will have played professional paintball inside an NFL stadium, which is huge for the sport, right? That there's so many opportunities that could come from playing in Tampa inside the Raymond James Stadium. What is that like for you? You've actually been in that stadium and like have played, games inside of these massive football stadiums, and to now see paintball in there. Is that the right direction where the sport is going?
I would say it's definitely progress. I I'm not sure if anyone really would have been able to see that coming of them playing inside of an NFL stadium, but nevertheless, it's definitely a great opportunity, for paintball to get exposure. It only helps, and definitely one that those who do go, they'll never forget, you know, whenever they did have the opportunity to play in an NFL stadium. So I think it's going to be pretty awesome, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. But if you would have asked me 3 years, if you asked me 3 years ago, do I see them playing in an NFL stadium? I'll be like, it would have been awesome. I don't know if it's obtainable, but I mean, now that we got the opportunity, I just can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see how it all turns out. I think it's gonna be pretty dope.
To see now what's going to be next from that, right? Like what doors could potentially open from that.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, as long as we don't, I say we as like the community and the industry, like maintain the progress that paintball has made, then yes, it can open the doors to other opportunities in the future. But I I don't think that we'll waste it. I think we're all just waiting to see what's gonna happen next, following that event. But I think we're all just really excited just to see how Tampa turns out and them playing in that stadium. Can't wait to ask the pro players what it was like, playing in a football stadium because very few people are just be able to step inside on the field of an NFL stadium. So there's nothing like it, especially on a sold out stadium. Yeah, those fans can get pretty loud.
yeah, it's a whole different level, of what they'll experience. Um, you've talked a lot about communities and, the paintball community, the football community, and it seems like community is really important to you. Um, and I wouldn't do the paintball community justice if I didn't ask this question. So you've kind of been known for like the viral post of the lack of leg room on airplanes. It's on Instagram. Tell me about that. How did that come about?
This whole trend started when, after I got defensive player of the year in the USFL in 2022, I had 6 NFL workouts in 2 weeks. So I was constantly on flights there, back. Sometimes I would connect one workout to another to the point where I didn't go home. So 6 workouts, 2 flights minimum, assuming there's no connection. I mean, I was just constantly on flights, but I wouldn't tell people where I was going. I would just drop the breadcrumbs of like, hey, I'm just know I'm going somewhere and it's for business. So when you constantly see something always being posted every single day on someone's story, you just tend to catch on, and it just like it gets ingrained into your mind that that he's always on flights and he has very limited legroom. So and then people started posting the same pictures, and then they're just like, is it like this, is it like that? Then people ask me to to grade their leg room. And yes, first class is nice. Don't get me wrong, but the whole point was legroom and comfort. I'm just like, I'll take like I always sit at like exit row. I'll try to always sit exit row, but the 10 out of 10 is that the seat delete row where the seat in front of you is just like completely gone and you can fully just stretch out your legs and just be comfortable for like anybody, remotely tall. It's just when you got like a 2+ hour long flight, you just like the biggest gripe is just like the limited legroom. And that was before my knee surgery, but now I got a bigger emphasis on it now after having surgery. So I'm just like just always just stretching out my knee and just trying to just feel comfortable because I'm going to be sitting in this plane for 2+hours. I want to be decently comfortable. So that's how that trend took off. People always constantly see me on flights, always like talking about the leg room. I've been in like the regular seats where my knees are just wedged up to the tray table, or someone in front of me always reclines their chairs. It's just hard. It's just hard to get. Just for reference, I'm 6'4", so those regular seats get pretty tight for me pretty quick. So I've just always just made an emphasis on just, hey, I'll pay for comfort like a little bit just to be comfortable on a flight because a 2+hour flight with limited leg room is just rough.
Uh,
It's just rough. It's just rough on the legs and the knees and everything.
it could turn into like one of the worst experiences. Especially if being 6'4" and having football sized legs too, like that just adds a whole nother element to it.
Yeah, it's not easy. When it's nice, it's nice, and when it's not, it's not. Like that's it. Just in a nutshell, that's basically how I could just summarize it all. It's just it can just be rough, and sometimes it can be pretty nice.
Well, paintball community, there you go. I asked the question I think everyone always wants to know when we see the stories.
Everyone always asks me in person. Everyone always asks me in person, and then once they understand it, then then the next time they're on a flight, they're the first one to just tag me.
Yeah, oh, I do it too.
Yeah, I know. I've seen your post multiple times. It's just like people just go, especially like when they're going to an Excel event, so they're traveling to play paintball. And they're just like, I was like, well, let me just make sure I just get my leg room and just tag him real quick, and we'll see if we see if he sees it or reshares it. So no, the community's just funny. Just making a whole little trend out of that.
It's been fun to watch for sure. Um, let's shift gears and dive more into your personal life. You've talked so much about family in this podcast and like how important it is to you. And so many families get ripped apart when one part of the family is a professional athlete or is some type of professional elite level. I went through those same personal struggles being, a photographer for paintball, traveling the country for it. Talk to me about that. Like, talk to me about how you're able to juggle all of it, being a dad, being a football player, and managing out everything.
It's just prioritizing and time management. Like my family knows that sometimes I need to get out and do certain things, like even outside of just going to play football. Just sometimes it's just going to work out, going to just play paintball. Sometimes not twice on a weekend. Sometimes just once. So typically, a lot of times, like I'll have like family time throughout the week or on the Saturday because Sunday I'm going to go practice. And it's all about just balancing time and just throughout life and throughout the day. And then once you just have that balance of prioritizing your time for the things that you do have going on, it becomes pretty simple. Just once you have the understanding of like I have like, oh well, I need to spend more time with the family, or no, I was like, I got an event coming up, I need to practice more. I haven't been in the gym lately, so I need to go more. Just having that proper balance for things going on in my life has just made it easy. And then whenever I feel myself lacking in one, I make sure I prioritize it by giving it more time. So it doesn't feel left in the dust. So I just balance it right back up. So it it has its times to where, like, spending more family time than doing other things is what I feel necessary just to have proper balance in the relationships and in my life. And then after that, it just became pretty simple. I know a lot of people. I explained it to them, and they said that they just don't have the mental capacity for it. But I mean, that might be for them, but to me, it's pretty simple. It's not always easy, but it's pretty simple. So it's just all about give and take and just sacrificing, uh, one thing and put it towards another. So I'm just able to just keep it simple for myself, just to balance it all out.
Yeah, and you and I were talking before the episode, before we started to record, about Casey Neistat, who's obviously one of the biggest YouTubers of all time. And it was years ago, but it always plays rent free in my mind. He created a video that he talked about time where like he broke everything down into hour segments. And like that just unlocked something for me when I saw it is you really can like control and gamify it if you look at your day of how can I maximize every single hour and how can I move chunks around. And I think when you finally get to that point and realize you actually have more time than what you think you do, you can really do some incredible things like you've done.
Well, yeah, once you're able to like actually like look at it at face value, even just from an hour's standpoint, not a productivity standpoint, but just like time spent doing certain things, then then you can like really just dive into just how you want to prioritize your time and manage your days and your weeks. So a lot of people don't do that. Like they just get caught up in just staying busy every day with the things that they have going on. But just to have proper balance in life, I think it is good just to sit down and just think about all the things that you do have going on. And it can get overwhelming when you do, but that's okay, because sometimes you just need to just check yourself on the things that you do have going on. Like, hey, do I need to be shifting my time and readjust like priorities for what I have going on, and just like and just make up the time for what you feel that you're lacking in. So, but once you get to that point of how you are spending your time doing certain things, then you can balance it out from there, because now you have it broken down, and then you can see it at face value what you need to adjust.
Yeah, speaking of time, and probably one of the most important pieces of spending your time, let's shift in and talk about your daughter. You mentioned her earlier and how she has osteogenesis imperfecta, which I think a lot of people call OI, where she could potentially break a bone with very little impact. And it sounds like she's been through literally hell and back, having multiple surgeries and fractures. Talk to me a little more about what she means to you.
Well, number one, she means the world to me. She's become my biggest why and my biggest inspiration that just keeps me going every single day, even when I'm having a bad day. I just look at her and she's just always smiling, just always just like happy to play with the new toys, or we go on trips, or just happy for me to just come home from work and just to see her. So she's been through a lot. She's had over I mean, she's 5 years old. She's had over 100 different fractures just from her condition. And we've had surgeries that have had that put metal rods in her extremities, because her bones not only are fragile, but they're bowed. And when bones are bowed, they have a weak point, whenever they curve. So we put the metal rods in there, to help guide the bone to grow straight, and prevent displacement fractures. And that has greatly reduced her fracture rate, on a yearly basis. And no parent wants to see their kid in pain, let alone have continuous bone fractures. So we have seen her fracture rate go down, and now she's just like always just trying new things, because she just feels better, because she's not always hurting. Now, it's not going to stop her from fracturing. We're just able we're hopefully able to prevent how bad they can be, so she's not um always like in pain. So and she's had tremendous growth. If you ever met her, you would not think that she has what she has just based on her personality alone. Like if you met her right now, she would just want to get to know you. She's probably going to tell you about her birthday party, probably ask you why you weren't there, but nevertheless, she'll just want to just get to know you, and and who you are. And that just feeds into just me being family oriented, and like my family, and and uh and my girlfriend's family, and she's just always just around what she calls her family, even if it's close friends. that she's that she's very has she has a very bright personality and wanting to get to know someone, and she's just always just happy and enthusiastic and just always smiling. And I know, and I can only imagine what it's like for her when she does have a fracture and for what she goes through. And it just makes, even when I have my rough days, and then I just think about what she goes through on a daily basis. And I was like, well, I guess my day wasn't that bad, because I have no idea what she's going through, and she's just happy to see me at home. So it just, it's a, it's a breath of fresh air when once I see her happy, even like on my good days and bad days, that she just makes my day even better.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think you touched on that in a UFL interview, I think in the last year or so, where you said that she's a constant reminder that if she can go through all these hard things, that what you're going through, you can push through literally anything.
Yeah, it's unlocked a different mentality for me for the better, as a player, as a person, as a father. Like it's just it, and I've liked what it's done for me, and just it's just constantly just what I've just have to do, and just have to be the best parent for her that I can possibly be. And sometimes that might just be just whether if it's going out there just dominating on the football field, or if she just wants me just to stay home one day and just play with her and her toys. Just something as simple as that. And I do my best to make sure that I give it to her, because if she's just asking that one little thing, I know it's just going to mean the world to her, and of course, it's just going to mean the world to me.
Yeah, it's such the beautiful power of moments. What do you want for her in her life?
I want her to have as many um, abilities and options to do whatever makes her happy. And I just want nothing but greatness for her and her success, and not be uh, limited to what she really wants to do. Now, could things change on what she really wants to do whenever she becomes a teenager and starts thinking about college and stuff? Well, you would hope that she has a general idea by that time of what she actually wants to do. But you know, as uh, as she's been limited with her condition, like her awareness and intelligence has risen. Just like if you are unable to see, your sense of smell goes up. If you're unable to smell, like your awareness of your environment goes up through your peripheral vision. So she's been making up her limitations in different ways, and I constantly see that. Sometimes I'll be just having a regular conversation with her and completely forget that I'm talking to a 5-year-old. and even with some of the OI kids, like there's another a kid, we were up in Omaha, Nebraska, for one of her surgeries, and I met another OI kid. His name is Noah. He wants to be a sports. He was 13 or 12 years old at the time, I believe, and he was Houston based, and he told me he wants to be a sports analyst. And once they found out that I told him I play football, the next thing I know, um, I'm in his room with my family, and we're playing Madden. We're playing Madden in the hospital, and then he wanted to know more about the game, and then I started breaking it down for him on what to look for. Again, having a regular conversation, a thorough football conversation, and forgetting I'm talking to someone who's barely even a teenager. So they are just very intelligent on on their awareness and speaking and getting to know someone, and it's just incredible just what all that just what all they can do. And just like even just holding a simple conversation and articulate themselves very well, and that just makes just all those kids just so bright and just just great to be around in general.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show the beauty and the power of the mind, right? Like if we don't have something or if we're lacking something, the mind just like naturally makes something else a strength. And you can clearly see that for her and for other kids and people that have OI.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just I only know through Cassidy's experience what she's experienced. I don't know what other kids have gone through. I could I can try to understand from the best way that that their parents or themselves explain it, but even at the gala event that we just went to in DC, once it was over, me and Cassidy went to dance floor and just dancing to just different songs, and then a kid comes in and dances, and he's doing tricks in his wheelchair. Those I never thought I would see. Just it caught me off guard, but I was very impressive. And then my girlfriend tells me the next day, "Hey, that kid that we came on to dance for with you and Cass." I was like, "Yeah, he just got accepted into Yale." I was like,
Wow.
"Really?" Like, so I
Wow.
was just completely surprised because I didn't because I just I didn't bother to ask, and then I found out his parents told her while I was dancing, and she just told me the next day. So, like, if I could have if Cassidy could have that that option and ability to still achieve greatness, like just as good, if not better than that individual kid that was on the dance floor with us and dancing with Cassidy and myself, then that's all I want for her. I just want her just to have the ability to do what she really wants to do, and I'll support her through thick and thin just to do that.
Gosh, I love that. And that's so in line with the last guest I had on, Logan Knowles, who has cerebral palsy and just finished the New York City Marathon a few months ago. He looked at his disability as a superpower. He was like, I wouldn't want to change my life because this has given me so much more that I probably wouldn't have had. And my thought process is completely different.
Yeah, it's like be grateful for the life that you do have, not for the one that you don't. And because I mean, you can adjust what's going on in your current life, but you can't so much like change for the way that God made you. And I'm a firm believer in that. Now, what you choose to do in that life, well, that's completely up to you. And it's just amazing to hear these stories about not letting not letting something like that just hold them back from what they really want to do. I mean, I can't ask for anything more than that, and it's just like it's just great to see great to see and meet different kids and different people to know that that is not their identity.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of identity, that's a great transition to my last question for you. What do you want to be known as? You know, Chris Odom, the football player, Chris Odom, the paintball player, Chris Odom, something else. Like, what do you want your identity to be?
Just a great person. I think all those titles will just intertwine into one, and then everything else will just speak for itself. Whether if you know me just as a football player, or as a dad, or just as a figure in paintball, I want you to know also those other things, so you don't just see me as that one thing. That I try to help others to the best of my abilities. If I can, I will, and if I can't, then I'll try to get someone who can. And I think everything else will just take care of itself. With just knowing that just about me personally, and then everything else will fall into place following.
Gosh, what a beautiful answer to end this podcast on. That was incredible.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. It's, definitely, it was definitely a great talk tonight. And, looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, likewise. Well, Chris, thanks for coming on. And for everyone else, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Shellda Podcast. And we'll catch you next time. See ya.